Hey everybody, Doug Walker here. I finally saw Bumblebee. I'm so sorry this took so long. It came out around Christmas, like when Aquaman and Mary Poppins came out. I already don't see movies around Christmas, and I wanted to see those two first, and it's just like, so I'm sorry. And then other movies came out, yada yada. A lot of people have been asking me to review this because apparently this is like the first good Transformer movie to come out since like the first one. I mean, even a lot of people didn't like the first one. So a lot of people have been asking me to talk about. It's been getting really good reviews, or at the very least percentage-wise good reviews. I know everyone's always like, just because it got like 90% Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean that's how much they like it. I know. But, you know, it's still, there's going to be usually more people that don't like something or on the fence or whatever. You know, it's going to affect that. So I know if a movie gets like, whatever, 100%, that could be 100 people saying it's okay. But still, I feel like on the okay bar, people are going to drop off. More people are going to drop off. So that's what I mean by that. Anywho, this has finally come out. This is the first non-Bay directed Transformer movie. And like I said, a lot of people have been asking me to do it. And it's okay. It's okay. I know a lot of people hate it when I say that because it's like they either want me to love something or hate it. And it's a very, very, very okay movie. Pretty much the setup, if you've seen the trailer and you know the setup where it's like, you know, Bumblebee is lost, one of the Transformers is lost, it's a prequel, it's in the 80s, and he comes across this kid, and they form a friendship, and they're gonna learn things from each other while bad guys come and try to get them, both Transformers and the army. If you saw that and you're like, that looks interesting, you'll like this fine. I saw it and said, oh, it's every one of these stories we've seen before. And it is. But it's done all right. If you want to get really technical, there's a lot of things that don't make sense about it, which, I mean, for Transformers, you gotta kind of expect. It's robots that turn into, alien robots that turn into cars. I mean, of course there's gonna be stuff that doesn't make sense, but in terms of character, there's some things that don't really make sense to me. That kind of got in the way from me, but the performances are good. The action's okay. Man, once in a while I gotta laugh. If you like this story, you'll like it fine. I'm sick to death of this story. If you're gonna do it, I want something really new. For example, Lilo and Stitch. That story's been done. It's the exact same story. You know this story. Trying to hide something from another world. The E.T. story. You're trying to hide something from another world while other people are trying to get you. It's usually a kid. Usually the two are going to help each other out in some way. You know, it's not actually about the aliens. It's about a connection to a parent or a lost parent or something like that. And that's this. But Lilo and Stitch added sort of these new elements to it, particularly with Lilo herself. She's a great character. I mean, there's no kid that is that weird and that distinct and that unique. I mean, it's just a wonderful character, and the connection with the sisters is great. So that, for me, made that really unique. This is every one of these stories you've heard, and there's really nothing new, but it's not done bad. Honestly, when this movie started, the best part is the first 3 minutes. I actually like fanboyed hard because you get to see what's Cybertron? Is that the name of the planet, I think? Where the Transformers come from, and they are just, it takes place in the 80s, so it only fits that the Transformers, Cybertron, everything looks exactly like the 80s cartoon. There's like so many of the Transformers you grew up with, like in the first 3 minutes, and they look just like them. They're not all Michael Bay dyes. I mean, they look just like the original Transformers, and I just was like, oh my god! It was so cool! And then, you know, one of them lands to Earth, Bumblebee, obviously, and he's being chased down. And there's a cool little fight. It's in the mountains, you know, just some place that's not a city or a desert, thank you. And it's a cool fight, and you're introduced to John Cena, who's this military dude who's, you know, a fun character. Actually, he's kind of my second favorite thing in the movie, honestly, because he has some good lines that I think are improvised, but I could be wrong. But he's very entertaining. And from there, like, his voice gets messed up, very Planet of the Apes, like he can't talk, and he falls, and he has to go into hiding, and I was liking it so much that I actually kind of got pissed off when I was reminded, oh yeah, there's a kid in this. It's like a coming-of-age story, which is so rare. Usually that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for, like, the family connection, the human connection. But because it started off on such a strong, nostalgic throwback that was just so much fun, it was just one of those things where it's just like, oh yeah, it's this movie. But for a good 10 minutes, you get, like, a solid nostalgic Transformer movie, which was really cool. And I like the first Transformer movie, the Michael Bay one. It's stupid, but I really enjoy it. I felt, again, even though that's a story that's been done over and over, these things coming from another world, again, kind of befriending a kid and then just turn into a big us versus them, good guys versus bad guys action. We've seen that before, but I thought, like, the action and the effects and the creativity to the fights and everything and the comedy were all a lot of fun. Again, stupid, super stupid, but a lot of fun. Where with this one's a little weird because, like, I think it's still PG-13. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. And they're making it look like it's a little bit more like a Lilo and Stitch story, E.T., it's gonna be more kid-friendly, and there are elements of that, but it's still a PG-13 movie. Like, a lot of Transformers die, a lot of people die. The way the Transformers kind of kill these people is both not bloody at all, and yet somehow really disturbing and gory. Like, they're shot, and then they just burst into water. And it's like, that's somehow, like, it's not bloody, but it's kind of creepy, and I kind of really dug it. There's a great line, too. He's like, I like the way they pop. Like, that's great, Scenes like that are great. But then you'll kind of go to scenes that are more kid-friendly, like Bumblebee trying to get in the house, and he touches something, and it explodes, and he falls backwards, and he destroys the couch. Ooh, and that's more for little kids, which sometimes that can be combined very well. Miyazaki does that a lot, where he'll combine, like, a lot of adult elements, a lot of kid elements, and they go together very well. But something Miyazaki usually doesn't try to do, he doesn't try to hit that 13-year-old demographic. And this movie still very much does. And the problem with that, if you want to do that, that's fine. That's what the first Transformers did. If you do it well, I don't care. The problem with this is that when you're trying to hit that demographic, you're getting this action-packed, super violent, us versus them, some adult jokes here and there and stuff like that. And then you just get this stuff that's clearly meant for little kids. And a 13-year-old, especially at that age, is not going to want to see something that seems specifically for little kids. They want to ride that adrenaline. They want to ride that rush. They want to ride the inappropriate jokes and everything. So those weirdly felt out of place. I kind of felt that was an issue with the tone. Like, you had these two very, not super different, but just different enough where they didn't mesh all the time. And then it's kind of strange, too, because you hear Bumblebee talk in the beginning, which I guess makes sense. On Cybertron, he did have his voice and everything, but, he just seems like an average dude, but the way they kind of treat him in this movie, I think because other movies did this, is that he's almost childlike. He's very naive. Oh, what does this do? Oh, well, I don't understand that. Well, I guess I'll go really over the top with this. And it doesn't really make sense to the Bumblebee that they set up before. He doesn't act like the shooting warrior that there was there before, where something like Iron Giant can get away with that better because his mind is totally erased. He doesn't remember anything. Though maybe even that was going on. They didn't kind of make it clear because he can't talk whether or not his memory is gone or not. There was something later that says, like, memory rebooting or whatever. So it's like, oh, I guess he didn't remember? I don't know. So, and then even then, like, how to get his memory back, I'm not sure. So I'm still not sure if they were writing that or not, but even if so, I feel like he still knows, like, his military stuff. He still knows how to shoot. But there's a scene where she's like, again, you open up with Bumblebee shooting these Decepticons everywhere and jumping around and helping Optimus Prime, and then the girl is trying to teach him, now, when you want to hide, what do? He transforms into a car. It's like, okay, let's try. Look, there's a person. She goes behind a big rock. And she looks, he's hiding behind a little rock. Now, why would a friggin' Transformer do that? Why would this military-trained mind, that still obviously knows how to do it because he's firing guns and stuff like that, hide behind a little rock? I mean, that makes no sense. What made more sense was like in the first Transformer film, he says, my parents are coming, hide! And they turn into the cars, but they're on the front lawn. That's something that would match the characters. They wouldn't get it, but it doesn't match here. So there's scenes like that. It's kind of the same with the human characters too, where like the girl in this really wants a car, and of course she's gonna get the Bumblebee car. But she says to the parents, "I really want a car," and the mother, I forget her name. She's Bobby Hill. She's a really great actress, and she's good in this too. I mean, everybody's good. There's no bad actors in this. But she says, well, at the jump heap, that's like $500. We don't have $500. Yes, you do. This house is fucking huge. It's like gigantic. So that doesn't make any sense. But then later, it's like the girl's birthday. It's her 18th birthday, like a big birthday. And the mother gets her a helmet, and the kind of stepfather, the person she's dating, gets her a How to Smile More book. And if you're like me, you're thinking, okay, I know where this is going, because they're giving like the corny smile and everything, and she looks annoyed. She's gonna go outside, there's the car. They got her the car or something. Nope, they're just that stupid. And it's like, no, they're not. The way these people are played, they are not that stupid. They are not ignoring their kid that much. They are not this ignorant. They can be kind of goofy and they can be forgetful, but I mean, they are not that stupid. And there's kind of, you have the generic bully that like makes fun of the fact that her father is dead, which I mean, it's like, it's a shame whenever somebody needs to like just kind of cheat on a character or be lazy with a character, it's always the bullies. And the more I think about it, bullies could be really fascinating characters. Like the remake of It, or the cinematic version of It, actually made the bully kind of interesting. And I was just like, it kind of shows where he came from and why he's that way. I mean, it's brief, but it's actually kind of effective. And it's like, they're always the ones that get skipped out over, and they're just a plot device. I mean, there's one scene where she comes up, and she's like, this car is an embarrassment. Again, what kid would talk like that? But she said, you should really have your dad buy you another one. And it's like, you could just stop there, because maybe she doesn't know. And that kind of opens up this, scar for her, obviously. But then she goes, oh, wait, that's right. And it's like, no, come on, make it like a real bully. But, I mean, come on, you're all from Hollywood, you're writers, you must have been bullied. Come on, you gotta know how bullies talk. And that just seemed like, so we're just doing this for this cardboard cutout to come in and be an antagonist, and then she gets her comeuppance. So there's a lot of scenes like that don't make sense. In terms of characters. Plot, I kind of get it's not going to add up, with a Transformers movie. But some of those scenes with the characters legit got to me, and I was just like, no, I really don't like that. And then they do some of the things like they're going to make you think like Bumblebee's dead, and spoilers, he's not. It's a prequel, so of course he's not. And even the climax, they're like, it's this whole thing about how they're going to try and bring more Transformers to the Earth, and it's like, they're not. That's not gonna happen because it's a prequel, so there's not much suspense, and the action is not bad. It's just kind of stuff we've seen before. You can actually see it a little better. That's nice. But with that said, I mean, so those, if you're looking for like, I don't know, I guess you could say nitpicky, but they're not to me. I mean, that's like essential character stuff. But if you're looking for stuff like that to sort of be like, well, wait, that's taking me out of it a little bit. Those moments are there, but I feel like anyone that's going to see this movie, they're either going to go in to see like a die-hard action-packed Transformer movie, which I feel like most of the people going in are going to know that's not quite where you're going to get. This is going to be a little bit more low-key, a little bit more I guess character-driven, even though they're characters you've seen before, but it is gonna be. It's gonna take its time more. It's gonna be more depth, and so with that, you might not get all the action you want. You might get some more cutesy moments, which I think could annoy some people going in that want their Transformer movie. They're dumb, stupid, just punch each other Transformer movie. So you got that audience that probably, is interested in seeing it. Then you have the audience that wants something that actually is like very emotional and very, there's something where you can make a connection with this different life form and you can find out something about yourself and everything. And it's there. It's just very standard. But like I said, if you're looking at the trailer of this, it really is truth in advertising. I mean, that is the film. It's that straightforward story. There's not really much new, but there's a lot of people that like that story. There's a reason it's done over and over and over. How to Train Your Dragon kind of did the same thing. I mean, to me, they added enough new elements to it that made it kind of different. But it's like, I usually hate those stories, but like in How to Train Your Dragon, I loved it. So I think it is, for a lot of people, I mean, people that actually like, sort of more the character in their dumb movies and stuff. This is a dumb movie, come on. But that want more character, more depth, it's here. It is here, and they act it very well. The actors, like I said, are all doing a great job. But if you're looking for something new to kind of be added to this formula, this very obvious, straightforward formula, you're not going to get much. So that is an issue with me. That's a Transformer movie that for everyone saying, oh, it's really different, it's kind of the same just from different movies. I didn't see too much new added to it, but it's not, but it's an okay version of the formula. With John Cena, I was saying before, I think some of his lines are improvised. Anytime there's something in the story where you're kind of going, come on, he kind of calls it out. Like, my favorite scene is when the Decepticons come out, these two Decepticons, and, they're looking for Bumblebee, and they're playing it smart. They're like, we are the Decepticons, we are looking for this escaped warrior, if you do not help us find him, we'll bring war to your planet, and all you be destroyed, and we don't want that, doing the obvious thing. John Cena, of course, the good military American, doesn't trust them. And at some point, he's bringing up his concerns, but like a good soldier, when he's ordered to do it, he still does it, But at some point, he just says, they're called Decepticons. Does that raise no red flags for you? And it's like, I just feel like that must have been improvised. Or the other one is that they're talking to the parents. He's talking to the parents saying that, your daughter is brainwashed by this thing. She's been through a traumatic event and everything. Of course, the parents don't believe the kid. Because again, it's that point in the story where we have to follow this formula. But there's a great line where the father is just... It comes from an unfunny line where the father's saying something like, yeah, I used to do a lot of risque things. It's like, I stole, I don't even remember what it was, I stole a box of candy when I was younger. And like that's similar to like what she did. Now that's not funny. But then John Cena says, yeah, we know. That's funny because suddenly it's like, oh, he said this before. Like, he's that pathetic. And it's like, why would he bring it up anyway? And so that suddenly makes the scene funny. And I really feel like there's a lot of lines in there. I feel like he was probably written to be more straightforward, like a tough military guy, and he added this comedy. I could be wrong. Maybe he was always written like that. But the fact that he delivers it like it sounds like he's improvising them, I think is really good. And like I said, the big thing to praise in this is probably the performances, because they're not given much that you haven't seen in a million other movies. And they do a good job with it. The girl does a really great job. You really believe she misses her dad. The stepdad is okay. Again, he's supposed to be kind of the all friendly kind of dweeb guy and stuff, but he shows he can really help out. I mean, he's not a bad guy, which I'm happy to see. I'm glad there's no real bad guys apart from the Decepticons. Like, they should be the bad guys. Like that makes sense. But the military aren't really the bad guys or anything. If there is something where somebody misunderstands something or it's just being a jerk for a moment, it's not for very long. They get to the reasons you're seeing this movie pretty quick. So that's really nice. And like I said, that's what I mean when I say it's good. It's a decent telling of this formula, but it does stick very close to the formula, and I would have liked a little bit more variation. One thing I was really shocked about, and again, this isn't really a spoiler because it doesn't happen in it, so this is a prequel. And, Bumblebee lands on the planet, and a Decepticon, and two other Decepticons, and they're kind of building up how some of the other Transformers get there for the coming movies, the following movies, which is kind of clever. where was Megatron? The military captures Megatron. They have him for like years and years in, the army has him and they have him frozen and everything. Like, why couldn't he come down? Why couldn't we see how the military got him or whatever? You know, like that could have been a lot of fun. You would have had the big villain there, but he's not in there. Unless there was something in that first movie that said that he was there beforehand or something. I don't know if that would make sense. So I don't know. It kind of seemed like a missed opportunity to be, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there was something in there that said actually he came at a different time or something, so I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a perfectly serviceable movie. Objectively, it's like the best one because there is like the most depth and character to it, but it's all depth and character I've seen before. I personally like the first one a little more because there was actual kind of new stuff I haven't seen with the action and with some of the comedy, and it's one of those things where I just I could watch that a couple more times. I think it's a lot of fun, where with this one, it's like, okay, I saw the exact film I thought I was gonna see with nothing that much new added, and it did it fine. You know, I'm good. It's not really a movie I watch to really feel, you know, too much emotion or cry or anything like that. Because again, I kind of know the formula, where with the other one, I know the formula, but at least it's good action and it's funny and it gets my adrenaline up. So for me personally, I still like the first one the most, and then this one second, and the rest are just a rehash of the first one again, except they lose like all charm and comedy and everything. So yeah, so that's my thoughts. And I know this film, if I'm right, I think I heard it wasn't doing like great at the box office. Though for all I meant, maybe it's a slow climb, I don't know. And it's not surprising to see why. Like I said, I mean, it's like the people that want the Transformer fights are not going to get that much. The ones that really want a sentimental, smart story are going to get hints of it, but I don't think people that are looking for that are usually looking for it in Transformers anyway. And then the ones that really want to go to a new place are going to get this very standard story. So, but it's not bad. It's, you know, very adequately done. That's really kind of the best I can say about it. But you never know. You might go see it. You might have a real connection, you know, with the characters and with Bumblebee and with the girl and everything. You might really, really get this strong connection to it. So it's worth checking out, okay? Because maybe you'll have a much bigger connection to it than I did. You know, I thought it was all right. I'm glad I finally saw another Transformer movie. I'm glad I saw a Transformer movie that I can say, oh, that was decent, because given the last, 3 or 4, I mean, decent is a step up. I mean, they were getting so predictable. I think you probably saw I did a video where I predicted what was going to happen in the previous one, and I still haven't seen it, but everyone's like, yeah, that was pretty much it. I was off by 1 or 2 little tidbits, but yeah, I mean, and the stuff I was off, I guess, like the little girl in that movie, like, did nothing, and I thought she would have a bigger role. It's like, so the stuff I was off about just made it worse. So it's nice to see something where even with this one, I could predict it. It still was done well enough. It had enough heart to it. It had enough charm. It had enough good performances. You know, it's one last thing I forgot to mention. The effects in this are pretty damn good. I figured out why in the other movies, even though I like the first one, you know, and it looks cool, but doesn't necessarily look realistic. And I realized part of it might be the filter, that super high contrast filter that Michael Bay puts on his movies, where it already looks a little kind of weird and off when he does it. So now you're going to put these robots in there as well that aren't going to blend in. And now we have this movie where it's played mostly straightforward, like the lighting is even and it looks nice and everything. And there's scenes particularly when she hugs Bumblebee, like hugs the face or whatever. I mean, it looks like he's really there and she's really touching him and hugging him to a point where I legitimately can't tell that did they build a Bumblebee for that and then maybe CG his face a little bit, or was that all CG? Like, I don't know. So that's something I really have not seen in a Transformer movie in a while. Like in the first film, there was that novelty of never having seen something that big and that grand, you know, from these cartoon characters made of metal just coming down and fighting and throwing each other at buildings and stuff. Like, we never saw that before. And it's still shot kind of cool. Like, it leaves you to experience the awe and wonder of it. And then again, the others just over abuse it. They just go too far within. You notice the effects more and more, and they don't look real. Where this one, maybe because it took its time and the lighting was more even, than they just shot it like a regular movie. It looked more realistic, or maybe it's the effects department. I don't know, but whatever they did something that really made it look like he was there. At least like 30% of the time. When he's walking around, it's CG and it looks good, but it's like, okay, well, that's not there. But there's times where it really looks like he's there, and that's really impressive. So, that's about it. Let me know what you guys thought. A lot of people been asking me to review it and talk about it, and I'm assuming a lot of people really, really liked it. I'm wondering if going in, maybe I brought that hype with me, and maybe that's why so many people liked it, because they were just expecting another shitty Transformer movie. So their expectations were lowered and suddenly raised, where mine were kind of high and then kind of lowered a little bit when I saw how standard it was. But I don't know. I'm wondering if other people have the same reaction, or if this is like their generation's E.T. I don't know. So let me know what you think. I'm curious what people really thought of this movie. That's about it. Check it out. I do say check it out, because you might, maybe you won't get an emotional connection. But if you do, I feel like the people that will get an emotional connection to this will really get a connection. And it's kind of worth taking, 2 hours to see if it does. So that's about it. I will see you next time. Take care.